See, you've played golf with Michael Vick before, huh?
Yeah, I got a chance to play with him. I think it was maybe a year ago now, at Pelican Hill. And yes, that's like my golf dream is to get where he's at right now with the driver and seeing what he can do with the sticks.
I did pick up his driver and hit a good one. I think I picked this drive up and hit one straight down the fairway, like 300 yards. And like the typical golfer, you look down and say, "I'm getting this club." But
Ruco,
those clubs belong to you. They not for me. It was a lucky
straight
strike.
Down the middle though, Ruco. Like it's.
Really?
I mean, I didn't see him miss I didn't see him miss a fairway the whole day. It was crazy.
Thank you, CC. Thank
you. Now, see,
spread the word.
See, Mike, you're an absolutely, obviously you're a legendary athlete, but golf can be a weird game, right? Because even if you're incredibly athletic, that's obviously going to help you, but we also know it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great at it. So when you first started playing, were you instantly good, or did it take a lot of reps?
It took a lot of reps. It took so many reps that in 2011 we had a lockout in the NFL, and so it was a lot of dead time, a lot of idle time, and that was my time to break 90 and get into the 80s. I felt like, right. And so I'm going hard at golf. I'm going hard, and I'm playing every day. And Coach Reeder called me here and there just to check in and say hi. And every time he called me, I was on the golf course. And one day he was like, "Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you want to be a professional quarterback or a professional golfer?" Coach, that's a good question. Right now, I'm trying to break 90. So I went through training aids at the time. I was going through I never really had to like a swing coach or anything like that. Had lessons. I felt like they did more bad than good.
Man.
But I still was able to take some away from everything. And then so I got like a self-made swing that I'm super proud of, for sure.
Nah, it's a good one too. It's a good one. But you're right with the lessons though. I feel like every time I'm swinging it good and I get some lessons, and I take like 15 steps back.
Yeah. In golf, you always want more. We're going to always want more. And what I came to the conclusion of is that, in golf, we probably going to hit our ceiling around 80, between 80 and 85.
I'm cool with that.
Unless you really want to be scratched. And for me, I came off the couch, I think, a couple months ago, like early September. And I think once in October, and shot 79 both rounds. And I hadn't played or practiced or did anything. But that's the ceiling. 81 was the next round. So if I can do that consistently, one, you can play anybody's golf tournament, have fun and impress. And two, you can go out and take some money from your boys whenever you want. If you get lucky. If you get lucky.
What's the best score you've ever had, Michael?
My best score, I think I shot an even round. You know what? I think I shot a 73.
Wow.
One time. It was from about 6,500 yards.
Okay.
Typically we play, try to play the tips, 6,800 max. For me, that's when I can get like an ideal, like low 80s, high 90s score. But I think that day, and still that's a superb round. Even from wherever you're playing at, you still got to hit good shots. So I hit a lot of good shots that day. I never forget, I played with a Titleist velocity ball, and that's like, it's not Pro V1 or Pro V1X. It's like a level under like the Tour Soft or the Tour Speed, if you know the Titleist brand.
Yeah.
But it was a velocity ball, and I was kind of being cheap that day, playing with the fellas, and I grabbed a ball that was super cheap, and it was really productive. so I get with my group out here, all my boys out here, Dwayne Starks and, a bunch of guys I play with, and somebody looked at my ball and was like, "What the hell you doing playing with a velocity ball?" And guess what I do? Stop playing with it because of something somebody else said. They was like, "This ball don't," I hate to go on a tangent, but they was like, "This ball don't have any check. It don't have," but I shot 73 with it. So the golf myths don't really matter. It's all in what you make it in golf, man. You got to do you.
You got to do
That's my golf story.
Instead of me showing up every day at the pro shop buying 2 boxes of Pro V1s, I'm going to start getting the velocities.
Yeah, just try them velocities out, bro. They checking up and everything. And I shot in the 70s. 73.
I'd be really curious. if like velocity feels like that was a positive advertisement for them or a negative advertisement for them.
Definitely got to show that clip because that was right off the cuff. I'm glad I got that out.
It's like, buy them. They're cheap. They're not supposed to be good, but I play well with them. So you should
try 73 with them.
Like all the myths you heard. Nah, listen, I don't want to take anything away from the Pro V1 and the Pro V1X. They cost a lot of money and they do give you the results that you need, but you got to know what you're doing when you're playing with a ball like that. So honestly, I play with a tour soft and I've been shooting my best scores with a tour soft. I'm committed to it. It's about $34. It's like middle of the pack type of ball, but it give you everything you need. So that ball is for me. Them Pro V1s, Pro V1X is probably for the good scratch golfers or whatever fits your game. But yeah, I'm plugging Titleist too right now. I don't know how this is happening, but it's happening.
Next time we do an R2C2 with you, Mike, instead of the Nike hat and sweatshirt, it's going to be a Titleist hat.
It's going to be Titleist.
Yes. And you guys just got a new sponsor.
Yeah, that's right. We're very appreciative of that. Oh man. Well, Mike, there's so many things that we want to get into with you, and so excited to have you on. I guess the first thing, just when you think back to Wild Card Weekend or Super Duper Wild Card Weekend that we had for the first time, what's the thing that stands out most to you about what you saw over this past weekend and the 6 games we ended up getting?
Yeah, I think one, it was a very exciting weekend, and having an extra game last night was a plus. I didn't expect the Rams to get outs like that. I thought, not the Rams, I'm sorry, the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I picked against them, but let me tell you, Matthew Stafford did everything that he was supposed to do, and I'm happy for the Rams. I knew that they had it on defense, but a lot of those games, the teams who were supposed to win, they advanced and they won. And I'm still proud of the Eagles. I'm still proud of the Patriots, and people felt like they wasn't supposed to be there. Or they just barely got there. The playoffs go for the best teams that had the best records when it was all said and done, whether it's 16 games or 17 games. And I just think it was exciting to kick it off. And I know Green Bay awaits, and the Tennessee Titans, they await their opponent. So we get to see them this weekend. So a good weekend of football, but it was good to see those teams advance, Buffalo and Kansas City for sure.
It was good to see those teams advance and impress too, like the way Buffalo did it, the way Kansas City, because there was some question marks about if they can have enough offense to come out and play with these guys. So I want to see this weekend with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, going to Tennessee and see if they can pull that off.
Yeah, man,
it's going to be a good matchup.
No doubt. That's probably the most intriguing matchup of the week, and people probably going to forget about it not forget about it, but not really talk about it. And I'm glad you said it because you got this young, hot team, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and you got these exciting receivers and Chase and the defense stuff, a bunch of veteran guys. And then you got a Tennessee Titans team that's like, man, we done been through it all this year. And y'all done written us off a couple times. If we got to buy, everything got to run through us. So you got a young team that got potential to knock off a premier powerhouse, but you got a premier powerhouse in Tennessee who got all the components to take it next level.
I feel like you're gonna hear from Julio Jones before this is over with too.
Yeah, he gonna show up. Bro gonna show up.
He gonna show up at some point.
Yeah, that's bro. Yeah, for sure. He got to show up. Definitely. I can't wait to see that. It's time. He should be healthy too. Most important.
Mike, what has stood out to you most watching Joe Burrow this season?
Poised for a second-year guy. And I can only relate to my second year and how I felt. And even talking to Jalen Hurts last week, just having a conversation with him, he just talked about his comfort level. And I think when you can go into an atmosphere, CC, this, being a player, and have, crowd noise, and whether you're home or away, and just the pressures that come along with that, you can stay calm and, kind of always been in I own this moment. This is what I'm here for type of moment. Then you get the result. So now I think Joe is in the situation where he has a clear understanding of what needs to happen and how it has to happen, and he learned how to play the quarterback position. I always say you got to learn how to win. I think quarterbacks put their teams in a position to win. You got to learn how to do it, whether it's in a 2-minute drill or you got at the end of the game, or if you got to jump out on top and maintain the lead. can you do that and sometimes go wide or wide? So, he handling all the pressures, man. That's beautiful.
What were you guys see? I get your reaction first because I was driving in the car listening to my guy Spiro Ditas call the game on Westwood One on radio to the end of Cowboys 49ers. And I was, in a game like that, I didn't have a lot of stakes. I just wanted to be close. So I was rooting for the Cowboys to at least get a couple shots of the end zone just for the drama of it. And when I heard Spiro make the call of a QB sneak with 14 seconds left and no timeouts, I was absolutely mystified. And then, of course, seeing it later and seeing what they were trying to do, I was like, what are you doing? I mean, what was your guys' reactions to seeing that final play instead of taking a couple shots at the end zone?
Yeah. The main thing I was saying to myself was like get down. The whole time I'm saying Dak run, I'm like, I mean, I know why you gaining all these yards. They playing real deep. They let you get this. They really want you to run the timeout, so don't run the timeout. So the whole time I'm like, get down. And when he got down and I seen him put the ball on the ground, I knew it because we practice, you give the ball to the referee. In practice, we practice, like just say I hit a slant in practice and we got a ball boy following us, spotting the ball, acting as the referee. The coaches teach us, you take the ball to the referee. He's gonna be standing in that spot. So Dak tried to spot it, but the referee got to touch it and re-spot it on the most accurate spot, which is at his discretion. And so he came through. He bumped Dak. It was, if you look at it in the end, he was kind of like getting bumped, knocked around, and it was awkward. But it was that awkwardness was killing time. And so if you would have, I know it's tough in the moment. With so much going on, crowd noise, going crazy. You looking at the clock, and you get up and you put it down, but you didn't get up and with a ref would have give it to the ref. He put it down. Now he could have went. If he'd have found the ref, he could have got in position to get around that spike. It might have had a second. If it was 1 second, that was enough to give him a shot at a Hail Mary. So Go ahead.
Let me ask you this: if he would have threw the ball to the ref, and the ref fumbled around with the ball, then they would have had to put a second back on the clock, right? Instead of him of him putting it on the ground himself. Like if he would have just turned around and tossed it to that ref that was running behind him, then now he has the ball. So now it's basically like a timeout almost. Right.
Yes. Because they're gonna make sure they get that set. They paying attention to the clock too. They got a mental clock too. For a ref. And so you're right. It was another ref that he could have found instead of not, because I think it seemed like this was the back judge.
Yeah, it was.
I'm trying to figure out it was the back judge because he came from like behind the center. And I'm like out the backfield. But more importantly, man, he was supposed to find a referee, and it ended up in the cluster, and it just didn't end well, especially for that season, man, that they had. I felt like it was real important for them to advance to at least the divisional round, for them to say this was a successful season. Now, people saying they needed to fire Mike McCarthy and all that. I don't think so. He got a championship pedigree. He know how to win, but he's in this too. He's not calling the plays. Kellen Moore's calling the plays. I know Mike McCarthy itching to call the plays. I can see it in him. So, and him and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, but Kellen Moore's going to go off and be a head coach somewhere, which is good for him. And he can go run his own team. But I think it's time for Mike McCarthy to take over the play call.
Hey, but here's my thing.
You think Kellen Moore's going to get a job?
I think he'll get a job. Yeah, I think he'll get a head coaching job. But if he get a job, I expect Byron Leftwich to get a job because Byron's working with Tom and having just as much success with Tom and learning just as much about football with Tom, as Kellen Moore with Dak and Kellen with Mike McCarthy, what he's learned from Jason Garrett over the years, so on and so forth. So he got it. He got it here. It's just, it's planted, but everybody come from different offensive backgrounds, so it's all about what type of player you see and how I can make it work.
But here's my other thing, guys, on the QB keeper. Like, I understand if that's executed perfectly, right? And he slides at the 30 or whatever, you get one, decent look at the end zone, right? But wouldn't you rather get 2 shots at the end zone from the 40 than 1 shot at the end zone from the 30 and risk that?
That makes sense.
That makes
sense. I wish
sense.
I'd have thought about that yesterday when I was on First Things First. Hey, that make a lot of sense. Like, I mean, because still you give yourself a better chance.
Yeah.
I mean,
right? Like, because when you start, you just want a shot at the end zone when that drive starts. Yeah, you're just like hoping you get a Hail Mary.
Right.
When he first took off, I was like, oh, good play. But then I was like, oh, you're running to, like, just like Mike, like, get down. Because when he first took off, it made sense for him to, like, gain that little bit. Like, if he would have got down right away and only took, like, 7 to 10 yards, they probably still would have had 2 shots, cuz. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they could have had 2 shots.
Yeah, they could have. If he would have got down quick because there was nobody around him.
No.
When he first took off.
But they only had 14 seconds left. They're only going to have 1 shot after he runs on that play.
Right. Or you throw a quick pass.
Yeah.
But my thing is.
Quick 8.
Yeah, but even still, you're going to get 1, right? So I don't know. This is where maybe there's some analytics that say you have a greater chance of scoring on 1 play from the 25 or 30 than you do on 2 plays from the 40. But to me,
40.
I'm just like, my gosh, like you can easily get it into the end zone from there. Just like that's,
I'll tell you this.
It would drive me nuts as a fan knowing you didn't throw a ball into the end zone there. If you're a Cowboy
so what
fan.
we do, we go through situational football.
Yeah.
Relentlessly, as a team. And we practice it in the spring, we practice it in the summer, training camp, and try to get ready for all them situations. That wasn't an ideal situation. But we're taught, with 17 seconds or less, we can get a couple plays or we can get a big play, get a clock, and then get a field goal. All depends. So that play was a little funky. It was different. It was different, but you still got to, at the end of the day, get the ball to the referee.
Yeah. I mean, with all that being said, we still got to give credit to the Niners. Like, the Niners came in there, played physical.
No doubt.
They really dominated the game until Jimmy G almost fucked it up at the end. But that game was in hand for them. You know what I'm saying? They ran the ball. Deebo did his thing. They looked real good. By the way,
it was never
looked good.
Right. It was never supposed to be that. What happened at the end of the game? The game was over.
Mm-hmm.
Like before Jimmy G threw that pick, and I was like, come on, bro. For real, like Jimmy, you right where you need to be. Like, just play it safe. Like let the defense lose it. Don't lose it yourself. And Jimmy done did that 2 weeks in a row. So, I mean, he got the football guys on his side because he got through it 2 weeks in a row, too. Last week, he made it happen, though. The week that game-winning drive, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
See, do you still root against the Niners like a little kid?
So, listen. This is I do root against the Niners. I hate the Niners, right? You know that. But it was more drama this week if the Cowboys lost. So, like, the Cowboys losing gives us more to talk about. So that's why I was rooting for the Niners. You know what I'm saying? Just for the drama. Like, to hear what everybody had to say about the Cowboys. Because America's team, I can't stand the Cowboys. Like, nobody's from there. Every fan is from fucking New York, California, Florida. Nobody's from actually fucking Texas. Like, I cannot stand it.
It's America's team.
It's America's team, so I want to see America's team fucking lose. Oh, man.
Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, Skip, my man. I love Skip to death, but, man, Skip he went in. That's his squad, so, rightfully so. And then Stephen A., he had it out with Michael Irvin, and I watched everybody kind of like, I wanted to hear what they had to say, man. And it was very interesting Monday, I say that. Shout out to Stephen A. and his bounce back, too. I don't know he was going through what he went through.
Man, I know. That's my former co-host, actually, for a couple of years at ESPN. I didn't realize that COVID got him that bad. That's scary.
Yeah,
man.
me neither. Me neither, So I'm happy he made it through.
Yes.
Yeah. But I will say this about the Niners, though. Deebo Samuels is an animal. Like, there's nothing he can't do on offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can run between the tackles. He can run routes. He can catch a slant, take it to the house, like jet sweeps. Like, he just plays offense. Like, that shit is fun to watch.
Let me tell you, bro. When they found out that they could put him in the backfield in, like, week 5 or 6, I knew that was going to be a problem for a lot of people. Because really what you want to do is just let your playmakers touch the ball. And that's got to be something I think a lot of coaches out there got to pay attention to. Okay, you got this receiver who's like a Deebo. I compare Deebo to, like, he's a little bigger than Tyreek Hill. You know, you see like the quickness in and out of breaks, and they just explosive. You know, Andy do the same things. Hit him on sweeps. He might not run him in the interior on powers and traps, but you can do more with Deebo because you know he about 5'11", 6 feet doing it, and strong and powerful.
Like a running back.
Built like a running back. So just let him touch it. So yeah, good point. See, like that's the offense. He's instant offense, man. And then the other guys playing the role too. Like
I was gonna say, you know who I feel like could do that is the Bengals with Jamar Chase because he's built like that too. Like just put him in the backfield and just start flipping him the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like get him as many touches as possible.
Instant offense. You got to make sure he's tough enough too, because you know you're gonna get hit. Like everybody knows to have the Deebo or the Cordell Patterson. You know Cordell Patterson from Atlanta who played in Chicago, and the same type of deal. You put that big guy back there. Let him handle that rock. There ain't nothing wrong with it.
He was a big-time fantasy pickup for me this year, so I appreciate you giving Patterson some love there. But how about
instant offense?
Oh, he was amazing. How about, though, I mean, so we get the classic, like, 90s rematch with Cowboys-Niners, and then we get another one of the classic 90s rematches now with Niners-Packers. It was like those three teams played a round-robin in the 90s, constantly in the NFC playoffs. Yep. Mike, what do you think about San Francisco's chances now of going into Green Bay and upsetting the Packers?
Well, I like their chances. I think anything is possible when you got Kyle Shanahan, who's not only a great, offensive play call in the pass game, but he can call plays in the run game effectively too and be successful. So when you look at the 49ers team, they can do it all. They can pass, they can run, they can play defense. And I think it's about Jimmy G staying on schedule. And if they do go in there and it's 10 degrees or below, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. If it's 20 below, 20 or colder, like 20 or below, not 20 below, but like 20 or less, they probably can handle that. Between 20 and 10 degrees, they might be able to. But anything 10 degrees or below that, it's going to be tough. You got to remember where they're coming from. So, they're going to have to come in with an unbelievable amount of toughness, but I do think it's a good rivalry. I think, I grew up a 49ers fan, so I hated when they battled against Dallas because we lost to Troy and Emmett and Aikman a couple of times, and then we lost to Brent Favre, I think, maybe once or twice. So, yeah, this is typical old-school rivalry football we're about to watch this weekend.
What is it like going into Lambeau? Because you've done that in January. What is that preparation that week before going in when you know it's going to be freezing temperatures and trying to prepare to play a playoff game?
Well, thank God for us. I was young, one, and two. The week before we had played a game in Cleveland at the end of regular season, and it was probably like 12 degrees, and then so my homeboys. All the guys on the squad on defense, they come with this no sleeves policy. Don't put no sleeves on. We don't care if you're a quarterback, no sleeves, no sleeves. And like, you know what? All right, I'll do it. So what happened was we ended up playing the game. We lost to Cleveland. It was like 10 degrees. I was freezing. I made it through the game. I played well. But when we went to Green Bay the next week, it was like 22 degrees with a little snow on the ground. So it was like 10 degrees warmer. And I threw on my little long sleeve, man. And one, I knew he was going to be the underdogs. Two, Brett Favre was on the other side. And I was just ecstatic to play against him. And then it was just like the coolest, calmest night one of the best games I ever had as far as just being mentally into it and not, letting anything waver me or anything. I was just really into the game plan and really into what their defense was doing versus what they was trying to do to our offense and playing that chess match and winning.
Was there a quarterback, Mike, that you looked most forward to going up against when you were a young player, just, getting into the NFL?
That's a good question. A lot of guys I idolized was probably transitioning out at the time. But I do know I wanted to, I wanted to play against Brent Favre. I got a chance to do that early. I didn't want to get at him that early. I had fun playing against my cousin, Aaron Brooks, who was a great quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. And, that was just a competitive childhood rivalry. We was 4 years apart always, so I always loved playing against him. And then Steve McNair, I got the chance to play against him once. But the conferences and everything change every year, so you play against different divisions, so you really don't get to go against guys like you would want to.
Mm-hmm. You know, we're talking before about like you both being lefty golfers, and Mike, we talk a lot about lefty pitchers and the fraternity of lefty pitchers and how they always sort of have this connection. We see it with CC all the time. I'm wondering, does that exist with lefty quarterbacks? Like, because there's not that many of you. Is there like an intrinsic connection amongst left-handed quarterbacks?
No, it's not. And
no,
I'll be honest. Coaches in this league, you got to think they come through their careers or go through the course of their careers and they deal with nothing but right-handed quarterbacks. So in their mind, they like right-handed centric. Like, we got to go right. You know, occasionally they'll go left, but you know, they right-handed bias. And they'll deal with a lefty, but you got to be exceptional. You got to be like CC coming off the mound. You got to be great. You got to be great. You got to be a great talent for them to shift everything the other way because it just throws everybody off, even the receivers. Ball coming with a different spin. So it's a big adjustment.
Wow.
And a major commitment. But let me ask you a question, though, CC.
Mm-hmm.
What it's like being on that mound, though? Like professional, because I pitched when I was little.
Yeah, I know you got drafted too by Colorado. By the Rodgers.
I got drafted. Yeah, they drafted me just for the speed, the steal bases. I almost took that money. I almost took the money they was offering. They was going to give me $25,000 and send me to the minors.
Yeah, and everybody was doing it back at that time too, because Cedric Benson, Ricky Williams, all the guys was playing.
And let me tell you, I needed it. I was in college and my family needed it. I took it into consideration, but long story short, I didn't do it. But so I pitched when I was younger, and I used to be nervous on the mound, man.
Yeah.
Like what's that like?
Nah, not for me. I wasn't never. I would always be more nervous watching. Like if it was out of my hands. Like
right.
For me. If it's a big game, I would much prefer me be out there like to handle the, you know, whatever we got to do, whether it's game 1 of the World Series, you know, opening day, all of that shit. I'd much rather it be on me. You know what I'm saying? Like sitting there watching is hard, but like when you in it, you know, like going to Lambeau, you in it, and like for me, pitching, like the game starts and stops with you. So like I got all these people in the Bronx, I got all these people in Oakland, wherever. But, like, it's literally the game is on me. So, like, I always felt like I was in control of everything. So, I loved it.
That's why you're a Hall of Famer, because you wanted the ball in your hands. You wanted the ball in your hands. Like, that's what makes you great. When you willing to I talked about pressure earlier. When you willing to accept that pressure in any arena, let me do it. I got it. Yo, you got to get your little brothers out the way. Get your boys out the way. I got it. You know, that's the quest for greatness, I think, for sure. No doubt.
And you just always feel that responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like you in the locker room and everybody just feel good on that day when you pitch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm here to make y'all feel like we gonna win every time I'm out there.
Yeah.
So,
that part.
I want it. Yeah.
That part.
How about a scouting report of you, the pitcher, Mike? What were you like as a pitcher growing up?
You know, I just tried to throw the fastball all the time. I couldn't. So I could. Every time I try to throw the curve, I hit somebody. So at night, so you know what I used to try to do. Like we used to play this game called Strikeout in the neighborhood. Yep. We get a tennis ball. You know, guy, batter, back catcher, pitcher. But we were scared to throw. I couldn't perfect it because they were scared to throw. They were scared to catch the hard ball. So I had to throw a tennis ball. So I got my curve going with the tennis ball, but when I start throwing that ball that's a little heavier, when I'm playing in a structured setting, when I'm playing Little League, you know, they got the cages and you got the whole setup. So it's too late to try to perfect it. So I get in the game, try to do what I did with the tennis ball, and the ball just go flying. Like my ball, like so curved from left to right. Yeah, it was going all the way right. See, it was going all the way right.
You know what we used to do with the tennis balls? We used to take duct tape and tape them up so they would be heavier. So that's how, like, we would make them as heavy as baseballs. So we played strikeout. We would knock we would knock church doors down, kill garages and shit, but like we made sure that the ball was as heavy as a baseball all the time, so we would duct tape that shit.
But you know, you hit the foul ball, and if it hit the catch in the face, which was one of your little homies, without the mask, So that ball, even though it had the tape on it, probably wouldn't have hurt as bad than that ball that y'all was throwing. Yeah. So damn, I wish I'd have knew you. See, I'd have called you when we was little, bro. Yo, bro, what's the remedy?
See, that's the Instagram world right now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
like now, kids can get connected like that. But we grew up at the same time. You grew up in Virginia. I grew up in California. We playing the same game.
We doing the same thing.
Other, you know what I'm saying? We doing the same exact thing. But now these kids can see each other.
Yep. And I had to go a different path that suited me, and you went to, we both ended up where we needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's some cool shit.
Yeah, that really is. Mike, by the way, I just looked up the weather. It looks like Sunday at Lambeau, it's supposed to range anywhere during the day. It looks like the high is 12 degrees, and at night it's going to get to two below zero. It looks like. Yeah.
I know who I'm picking. 2 below zero. I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to watch. We're gonna leave that at that, man. That's it.
That's it. That game is gonna be ridiculous. Mike, how about like when you watch quarterbacks today? I mean, when we think about kind of like the dual threat quarterback, you're the gold standard, right? For the dual threat quarterback. And now we sort of see there's multiple layers of, I'd say, dual threat quarterbacks that we see in the league, right? You could have a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar Jackson that's like very run oriented, but also quite successful, right? You could have a Kyler Murray that's sort of like a hybrid of those, I'd say, like, but he's not quite, we don't quite put him at where like a Rodgers or a Mahomes are, two dudes who, we think of as,
great passers,
but they're athletic as hell and they can move.
Right.
I mean, when you see the way that position's evolved and you know what it was like for you coming into the league, what do you think when you look at today's quarterbacks?
I tell you, just watching Josh Allen this past weekend. I was like, bro, hold on. Look how far we done came. Like, bro, took control. He took control in the pass game. He took control in the run game. And that's just accumulation of all the things you done seen over the years before he came into the league. With how he's seen guys playing, guys who look like him, Cam Newton, and maybe another person, myself, RG3. Like, I got that ability. I can run a little bit. I can move the chains, and I'm a great passer. Now you package that all into one, and Buffalo got a guy that New England got to deal with for the next 15 years, and I feel bad for him.
He's the one
quarterbacks too.
He's the one that like can do both. He's the one where they call like design runs for him. I'm like, what the fuck? But then I forget like he can run the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like he's so good. I think Joe Burrow, you can't call design runs for him, but he can move around enough that you have to respect him running for a first down. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But Josh Allen is ridiculous.
Yep. So you look at guys like you got Kyler Murray, you got Aaron Rodgers who can move, you got Ryan Tannehill who can move and scramble and get out of the pocket. Mac Jones when he want to. Like, you got Josh Allen, you got all these quarterbacks who different body types and different statures and black, white, and different. They can all move. So I think back to the days of when Elway and all them guys was moving too, and I'm like, yeah, I got some brewing on that too. That's about to come out. Yes.
Oh, nice, man. I like it.
Yes. We done evolved, man, on all levels.
It's amazing. When I have to bring this up. When I was in college, every single night, my roommate and I would play a 7-game series of Madden, and
nice.
I would basically.
That's how much time y'all had on your hands.
Exactly. And
7-game series.
And then we would do 7-game series where if you won the 7-game series, that would count as one win. And so we do 7-game series of the 7-game series. It was
wow.
But I bring this up to say I played with Michael Vick every time. That I was always the Falcon so that I could put, you're the Madden cheat code. And I can't even, I don't know how many touchdowns Brian Finneran caught on Madden thanks to you when I would play. I mean, you just a deep out to Brian Finneran and it was unstoppable. But I know, Mike, you remembering John Madden, I know you told a story about Andy Reid encouraging you to reach out, that I thought was a really special story, and I was wondering if you could share with our audience.
Yeah, man, that was a real cool time in my life, because Andy knew that I was transitioning into my life out of football, and I took a year off. And when you retire, you say, "Oh man, I'm just gonna take some time off, and I'm gonna just wait and let things happen naturally. Probably take 3 or 4 years off." But after that first year, I was like, "Man, I got to find something to do." And I still had a lot of love for football. I was a little burnt out, but I still feel like if another season would have came about, I probably would have played. But I knew the parameters and centered around that. So, I was just like, I went to Andy's camp. I went and hung out with Andy. Andy invited me in. He's like, "Yeah, come on out." And I was like 3 weeks in, and I was starting to get into a routine of learning what being a young coach is all about. And then, I got a call from Fox, and I did a car wash with Fox probably a month earlier. And I didn't hear back from him. But while I was in the camp with Andy, they called and was like, "Hey, would you want to come do an audition to be on the Sunday kickoff show?" I'm like, that's a big show. If I have no experience, I never, did a kickoff show or a Sunday show. And so I went and asked Andy, because now I'm nervous. Like, damn, man, I done put in a month with Andy, and I know like he expected me to try to become a coach. So when I got the call, I was excited, because I was straddling the fence on if I really wanted to become a coach. And I know I'm going on the tangent, but I got to tell you the story.
Oh, it's beautiful. Keep going.
What I was feeling was this. Okay, we learn all this offense, and we got to go teach it. But just 2 years ago, I learned all this offense, and then I had to go apply it myself. So now I got to go teach it, and I'm still too connected to the game. My love for the game is like, I learned this that night. I don't want to go teach it. I want to go try to do it. And so I was kind of torn. I never told Andy, but the next day I went and talked to Coach, and I said, I waited till he was by himself, and I pulled him to the side. I said, "Coach, I got an opportunity to do the Fox Sunday kickoff show, and I just wanted to get your thoughts." And yes, I go on a tangent. Because I'm trying to make up. I'm like, because I really want to do this, but I want to do that. And he looked at me. He said, "I think it's great, son, but I want you to do one thing." He said, "I want you to call Chris Berman and John Madden tonight, and I want you to get their thoughts, and I want you to talk to them and ask them questions, just like you asking me." He gave me Chris' number. I never called Chris. I called John first, because I'm like, "Oh, I'm about to get John's number. The great John Madden. Get up. You probably one of the only people in this, probably 15 people that got his number." And Coach had, he gave it to me. I called John, and John was just like, you be yourself. It's not gonna feel surreal when you first doing it. It's gonna be awkward, and he was like, "You're gonna go through all these emotions doing it." And I did. Because he was like, you so much of a player at heart. And I talked to John for like 15 minutes. And then I talked to Andy, and I told Coach, give me a couple of days. I'm going to pack my bags, and I'm going to head out to California and do the audition. I'll let you know how it go. Did the audition. I got it. Thank Coach. I called John and told him, "John, I felt like it went great." This is what I told John. John was like, "Well, how did it go?" I felt like it went good. Because they sent me a script to prepare and get ready for the audition. So I just did my due diligence.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "John, I felt like I did good." And I was like, I don't know how much more I could have done better. He was like, "Well, if all else fails and you feel like that, then the Fox don't hire you. You can have that film and you can take it somewhere else and you can see where you land." But Fox hired me like 3 days later, and it was a wrap from there. So I would say John had something to do with that too. Maybe, I don't know.
That's a great story, man.
It was cool, man.
That's a great story, Mike. Oh, I love hearing that, man. That is fantastic. Now, along those lines, did you ever play Madden with yourself? Like, would you ever turn on Madden, play a game? Yeah. Did you realize how ridiculous you were in that game?
Yeah. I was so ridiculous that all I wanted to do was just take off and run. But some of the good Madden players, they know how to extend the play to run. Like
Yeah.
What I learned was you got to really drop back the pass and then run.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost like playing real football. When I played quarterback, I never came to the line of scrimmage and said, I'm going to run the ball this play.
You didn't?
If all else, I did it
Really?
one time. I might have, because I think you got to, while you're trying to compartmentalize everything, you still got to have a mental clock. Okay, he not open, I got to go. But that's got to be off instincts, because if it's not off feel, like while you're looking down the field and then you try to scramble, you'll run into somebody. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you back it in the pocket and you looking down the field, you just say, I'm going to take off and run, you might run directly into the back of a lineman. So I can't describe it. It's a quarterback thing. But when you're in the pocket, it's almost like feels like a body clock. And I would know, like, if, in practice, you get a lot of reps in practice. And so you get to feel the pocket and feel what it, when you got to slide right or when you got to push up or when you got to move, those natural instincts. So, I always knew when I was feeling that, I'm feeling good about that, that's when I was going to play some of my best football. So, man, the quarterback position is so unique. And it's cool to hear you break it down, hear y'all break it down and see you ask the questions about, Josh Allen and what's going on with certain guys, because it was probably, I would think pitching is harder, but it's probably one of the hardest positions to play in sports. Because you got to, so much got to happen.
You're playing quarterback, dog. It ain't nowhere near.
No, because if you hit too many people with that ball, you can be sued, I would think. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like, yo, you got to be so accurate, 90 miles an hour. How you do that? How you do it?
Nah.
I got hit in the hand.
The way the game is moving. I was gonna say the way the game is moving so fast and the D lineman so fast right now, it's gotta be insane to play quarterback. It's gotta be insane.
It's all about timing and it's all about decision making. Making a good decision, getting the ball out your hands quick, and being prepared, really.
I gotta ask you this though, Mike. You said you never got under center thinking I'm gonna run it on a pass play, except for one time. You said except for one. What's the one time?
The one time I did it was against Minnesota when I had the long run when the two guys ran into each other.
Yeah.
So I would never, we just lost the great Dan Reeves. God bless his soul. I would have never told coach that I came to the line and predetermined that I was going to run, but Minnesota kept playing man-to-man coverage. And the worst coverage you can play against a running quarterback is man-to-man coverage, because while they downfield, checking the receivers, if I happen to take off and run, they all running.
Yeah.
So I get to gain a chunk of yards until they look back and realize, oh, he running. So that driving, but our receivers was Sean Jefferson and Brian Finneran. Now, if you got to think, they're not game breakers.
No.
Reliable, but not game breakers. So if we lock them down in man coverage, all we got to do is stop Mike. But it backfired, because every time they locked them down, and that pocket, I shifted left or shifted right, or my instincts told me. But that one time I was like, if they play man, I'm going to make them pay. I'm going to make them pay. And I came off that play fake. If you look at the highlight, I came off that play fake, and I seen that they was in man. And I just took off. I said, I'm running. And I took off, and I gained some, and I gained more. And then it was a collision, and I got some more. And, we were celebrating, man. So one of my greatest moments in sports, for sure.
Legendary.
Oh, that's one of the great highlights in NFL history. And that's 19 years ago now.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
24-24, overtime, 46 yards for the touchdown. You finished with 173 in the game. How amazing is that, though, that's the one time you got to the line of scrimmage on a pass call and said,
now,
maybe you should have done it more, huh?
Yeah. Well, I won't exaggerate. I probably did it a couple more times, but it's just hard to do that, So, that was one of the times I do remember, and it was coverage based. It was predetermined. So, just some quarterback cues right now. I'd already, it was pre-snap. It was a pre-snap read.
Yeah.
Hey, they ain't man. They keep trying to play me, man. I already got 170 rushing. I think I had 177 yards rushing that day, and then I think I had like 180 yards passing. So, it was a very I would say, in terms of, just effort and not just being a true runner that day, it was a balanced attack. Like I gave them everything they can handle. In the passing game and the run game, that last run.
That was crazy.
And it was in overtime.
Yeah, and it was in overtime.
It was a walk-off.
Yeah, it was a walk-off. I always wanted to score a touchdown and run in the locker room. And then the thing is, you just never know when it's going to happen. So when it do happen, it's almost like you got to remember. I always wanted to do this. This your moment. I seen the whole team coming at me. I just seen out the sideline erupt, and everybody was coming at me, and I was like, I'm not running into that. I'm running to the locker room.
Running to the tunnel.
Yeah, I'm running into the tunnel. I'm like, they're going to stampede me. I'm only 212. I can't take it.
That's great. Mike, you're giving us so much time. I want to let you go in a moment, but I just got to ask you two more things, just top of mind. Because we did this with Leonard Fournette, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
What can you remember the most ridiculous high school game you had? What your numbers were, what you did in the most absurd high school performance you had? Because I'm sure you were just a monster amongst high schoolers.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't really highly recruited. There was another guy who was highly recruited named Ronald Curry, who was probably the greatest high school football player, quarterback, and probably football player ever.
Hooper
so yeah,
too.
I had a chance.
He was a hooper too, right?
Oh yeah, he was amazing hooper. Yeah, so he went on to UNC, played ball there. And so he was like my motivation. But I think my freshman year, I got moved up from junior varsity to varsity, and my first game didn't go so well. And then my second game of my high school career, I broke a state passing record, 433 yards in the game, 4 touchdowns. The school it was an okay school, but still, you don't just put up those type of numbers. It's like a guy going out and throwing for 500 yards. And you I don't care what level that's on. You got to be accurate. You got to be on top of it. And I did that. So that was monstrous. And I had that success early. And then so what that did, it set the bar and I had to live up to it moving forward.
Yeah.
Freshman year, you're doing,
man. And then Mike, we got to ask, man, just what's a typical day look like for you between Fox, your family, and also I know how involved you are in the community. What do you have going on right now on a typical day in the life of Michael Vick?
Yeah, right now we just finished up the season. We have no more kickoff shows. But we had a great season, high ratings, and we had a great time. I think our chemistry and camaraderie was there. So, during the week we always try to prep everybody try to get on the same page Thursday, Friday, so we're not all saying the same thing. And then travel out to California on Saturdays, and we shoot the store on Sunday, and then I come back Sunday night. But right now, I get a chance to take my kids to school, be involved in their lives. I feel like I spend a lot of time away from them in the game, when I played the game. So I'm constantly, around the house just teaching and coaching them, and now just pivoting into production. Got a couple of documentaries I want to put out. Trying to put together a script on maybe, my life story, in particular. I think it'll be very intriguing to watch. I think people will really get the chance to understand me if that can come into fruition. Still praying to God on that, but it's a thought. So just getting into production and still, helping the next generation, heavily involved with the Boys and Girls Club still, and hosting a lot of football camps this year. I didn't do any camps because of COVID last 2 years. So I'm bringing that back, bringing my football camps back in terms of elite showcases. And we do that on another level. And I love coaching. I love being around kids and teaching them the game of football, teaching them about life. So, I want to give back some time. I try to dedicate the football season to football because I love it so much and I love the game so much. But now is the time to decompress and be with family and do some things that I like to do and try to catch up on life a little bit.
Man, well, it is awesome seeing all you're doing, Mike. And you are in addition to, being one of the, most entertaining, electric quarterbacks we've ever seen, and now doing a great job at Fox. You're a great podcast guest too, man. I mean, you bring it. I can't wait to get you back on. Yeah, y'all make it fun. Y'all make it fun. That's what we like. That's what we like to hear. That's exactly our goal.
No doubt. No doubt. Y'all taking off. CC, I'll be calling you, baby, because I need to get the secret on how to throw that curve.
No doubt.
I need to throw that curve, man. In case I end up in one of these charity baseball, softball games, I know the ball a little bigger. I'm still gonna whip it.
Nah, I got you. You got to help me with my swing too, so I'll definitely be hitting you up.
Oh, yeah, we'll play around the golf this spring or summer for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Michael, thank you so much, man. We appreciate the time. All the best to you.
No doubt. Thanks. Anytime.
Appreciate it.